I am not a financial advisor, and I never give financial advice on this channel. 100% of this content is for entertainment purposes only. Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing well. It's Lane here with MetaShackle, and it has been a heck of a 36-hour period for me, dealing with all sorts of things. Really took up a lot of my time. I'm still not quite finished. I've still got some work to do, but I know all of you are itching to kind of get an understanding of what's going on here with the markets. So I just wanted to go over Bitcoin, XRP, and XLM really quick, because I know that the vast majority of the people that watch my channel, those are the three cryptos that kind of dominate the MetaShackle sphere, if you will. So let's get into these charts. So first off, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is leading the market, at least in terms of XRP and XLM at the moment. When I put that post up last night, price was trading up in this area right here. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that was the post referring to Bitcoin having a very similar setup as ZBCN did. First, we saw ZBCN just tear out of the cup and handle and go on an incredible run. Then we saw Quant in a cup and handle, broke out, went on a heck of a run. And it appears that Bitcoin may be the next candidate for a cup and handle breakout. But we're not quite to that point yet, but that is in the cards. A couple weeks ago, the vast majority of the people in the market were calling for moon while price came down. Now that price has gone down a little bit, all the mooners have turned extremely bearish. So if we were going to see a turnaround, it would likely be at a time when most of the market, especially YouTubers, start to turn overly bearish. That tends to be how the 90% thinks. When price goes down, they get bearish. When price is going up, they're bullish. But they don't consider trying to get ahead of the pivot nearly as much as they should. So if we look at Bitcoin right now, we can see that we have this bearish fair value gap sitting right down here, which actually held the price fairly well. It did penetrate just a little bit past the 50% mark, but there was no candle body closes below this. The trend line of the cup and handle is right here just below price. So if we're going to see a turnaround, it's very likely it'll be in this general area if we're not seeing it now, just because of the trend line, the 200-day moving average, which we're trading above, as well as this bullish order block right down here on the 4-hour chart. There's a lot of things that could hold the price up. It's since bounced out of here and is now playing around with this bearish SIBI right here on the daily, centered at about that 106,600. Now this SIBI is most likely going to act as resistance, so we could get a little bit of pinballing in here if it doesn't break through this. But if it does break through, this will likely flip over and act as support, to which we would then have to challenge this order block right here just above it. And we have the upper rim line of the cup and handle here. If price gets through these, you better hold on to your horses, because I have a feeling we're about to see an incredible breakout. And although I was expecting a much deeper draw on liquidity, especially within XRP, we just have not seen that yet. But as I'm about to show you, XRP and XLM are not diverging from Bitcoin as they were a few weeks ago, even a month ago. They're actually moving right along with it. And that's a good sign, because it gives us information. If Bitcoin makes a move, we can expect that XLM and XRP are likely to move in the same direction. The price of Bitcoin also took out this previous high right here within this pattern. This is the 4-hour chart. So I'd keep a close eye on this, because if Bitcoin breaks out of this handle, we could see something very close to what we saw in ZBCN and even Quant, except with Bitcoin it's going to be much bigger because it's the top dog. So flipping over to XLM, you can see the pattern is very similar. It's trading right along with Bitcoin. It also has a bullish SIBI right here on the 4-hour, centered at right around that 26-cent 4 level. It also has a bearish SIBI centered right up here at about that 27.65 level, which is likely going to act as resistance. Although XLM doesn't quite have the momentum that Bitcoin does, it hasn't quite gotten up to this area yet. So the same thing applies to XLM that applies to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin punches through the bearish SIBI, then it's going to be very likely that we're going to see XLM do something very similar. And if we're going to get rejected, it's very likely it'll be right around this area, as XLM is trading below the 200-day moving average. It's below the Gaussian channel, this bearish SIBI, which is currently crowning it, and there's really not much in the way of support going on down here below until you get down here at about that 23-cent 2 level. It has also fallen out of this wedge pattern and is now currently trading below, and it's well below the equilibrium zone. So there's quite a few things that we would want to watch here. But all in all, you want to keep your eyes on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin will be the deciding factor in the direction XLM is going to move, and Bitcoin is likely to start moving that direction first. But overall, the Bitcoin chart is looking way more bullish than XLM is. But that doesn't mean that XLM isn't going to follow Bitcoin if Bitcoin goes up. And if Bitcoin breaks out of that cup and handle, you better believe that XLM and XRP are very, very likely going to become bullish very quickly. And if they can get up here above this 200-day moving average, breaking through this SIBI, coming up and challenging the equilibrium zone, crossing the equilibrium line, it very well could do something very similar to what we would be seeing in Bitcoin at the time. So that'll definitely be something to watch. For additional information and exclusive perks, do consider joining me and the rest of our community on Patreon. Flipping over to XRP, we have a very similar situation. As price was falling down here, we filled this bullish fair value gap here, took out this weak doji right here, filled the gap right here at 218.5, filled this bullish BISI right here, took out this weak doji, and all the way down here we even took this weak doji out at 208. So a lot has been accomplished, even though it has not gone as low as many of us had anticipated. Price reacted fairly well to this bullish fair value gap here to where price is now trading above it. And price is now trading back within the wedge pattern right here, which is another great sign. That's actually not uncommon for something like that to happen. Price falling out of these, coming back up into this part of that descending wedge, then turning bullish. But it still has some roadblocks ahead of it. If it's going to get rejected, it's likely going to be at this bearish SIBI right here centered about the 223 area. We also have this bullish order block that was broken. I've just kept it on the chart as a reminder that it was there. Now, one thing I would like to see is price get through this bearish fair value gap and up on top of this upper trend line. If that's the case, we're going to be leaning more and more and more bullish as we start to knock out some of these roadblocks. Right now, the chart is still fairly bearish. But if Bitcoin goes on a run, the same thing we could see with XLM could happen to XRP. Basically, they could just be winning by default. And this is a pretty decent pattern right here. And I know when I put that post up last night talking about how Bitcoin was resembling the ZCBN chart, I know a lot of people just kind of shrugged it off. But now that we're starting to get that upward moving momentum, people are starting to think twice. You may not realize it, but I'm very good at reading price action. Now, making medium term and long term predictions, that's challenging no matter who you are. But reading price action, in my opinion, is the key to getting an idea of when price is about to turn around. And right now, this is actually looking better than it has for quite some time, especially going back here. This has basically been bearish ever since we fell off of this cliff right here. Now, in order for it to be really bullish, I'm going to want to see this SIBI taken out, getting back above this trend line right here, crossing up above the 200-day moving average. And it's not going to be easy breaking through these twin bearish order blocks. But if we can get above those right there, get up above this upper trend line, we're going to be right back where we were. That is the place we want to be, is above this trend line. Because if we're going to get the momentum that we need to get up and break through this order block, as well as this incredibly bearish SIBI, that's what it's going to take. It might even be a case where price breaks out, gets rejected off of this, bounces off of this trend line, gaining some serious momentum, or off of this SIBI here, which would become support rather than resistance if we'd crossed over. That could give us the momentum that we need to punch through this thing. And I would watch these weak doji targets, because those are likely places to see price visit. If we're going to get rejected, it's likely that we'll take out this weak doji, then get rejected off this bearish SIBI, moving to the downside for some consolidation, building up momentum. But all in all, even though the chart is bearish, my gut is telling me that we're about to start cracking at these upper barriers that have been holding us back. And if we can get through those upper barriers, I think we have a real shot at making some significant moves, perhaps even into price discovery in the near future. So keep your eyes on Bitcoin. Watch Bitcoin to see if the price of XRP and XLM are diverging from Bitcoin. Right now, they're moving right along with it. If they start to diverge, that'll give you information. So right now, we're watching Bitcoin because the king is going to drag his men with him into the battle. Now, if XRP and XLM start to diverge, that's not a good sign, because if Bitcoin breaks out of this cup and handle and goes on a monumental run, there's a good chance it might not work out so well for XRP and XLM. So these are all things that we have to consider. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Please do me a favor, hit the like button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it definitely helps the channel with the algorithm, and I would really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Good luck. Have a great day.